Hey team, I know a lot of you out there are training for your marathons that are coming up, and you're asking the question of how do I train for a 3:30 marathon. Uh, this is definitely a competitive time. I mean, you have to hold basically 4:59 kilometer pace for 42.2 straight kilometers, or 8 minutes per mile for 26.2 miles. So the key thing I want you all to keep in mind is when you're trying to break a 3:30 marathon is consistency and making sure that you're training a higher percentage of your weekly volume at or below your anaerobic threshold, because the key tactic here is you want to be able to sustain that 8 minute mile pace or the 4:59 kilometer pace more effectively throughout the race. And so if you're running too much mileage throughout the week too easily, it's going to be very hard to do that. Of course, you're going to be extremely fit, you're going to be very strong in terms of your endurance, but in terms of your strength and stamina, it does take more than just running consistent mileage over a long period of time to run a sub 3:30 marathon. Preferably, you want to focus on a minimum of 16 weeks, but optimal time frame in order to run a high quality marathon time like this is 5 to 6 months. Okay, and again, every athlete is different. Some athletes will work better with a shorter buildup, but if you're doing an 8 to 12 week buildup, I would advise that you have at least spent a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, running easy, relaxed mileage before you start that buildup. Because again, you can't just jump into these training plans or to start a training plan and be able to teach your body to really adapt to the hard training you're doing in a span of 2 to 3 months. It can be done, but you definitely have to have a general strong aerobic base built first. Okay, now in terms of athletes out there such as yourself that may be trying to break a 3:30 marathon, I would advise to be doing strides 2 to 3 times per week. Okay, you can do those during your easy runs, you can do them at the start of your track workouts or your tempo runs. Those strides are anywhere from 50 to 100 meters in length, but what I want you to keep in mind in regards to strides and doing these over a consistent basis from say a minimum of 2 months, but preferably up to 5 to 6 months, is you're doing those 50 to 100 meter strides at or close to all out efforts. So over a long period of time, you will have spent several miles or several kilometers at pretty much all out sprint paces on top of all the other workouts you're doing. So keep that in mind. Stay consistent with your strides. As I talk about in other videos, if you're trying to break a 3:30 marathon and you want to get 8 minute mile pace for 26.2 miles to feel easier, or 4:59 kilometer pace for 42.2 kilometers, you have to start running at faster paces. Okay, anything really under 3 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon, in my opinion, you're getting closer to that elite level that where so few athletes really are able to run at. Okay, the faster you run this distance, the more specific your training needs to be. Okay, that means that you want to be doing, my favorite types of workouts training for the marathon was 1,600 meter repetitions on the track, 200 meter reps on the track, with between 3 to 5 minutes of recovery in between each one when I was very, very fit. Again, the beginning stages of your buildup, be patient with yourself, okay? Your splits on the track are not going to be as fast. You're going to need more rest. Okay, but as your body adapts, and it will always adapt to the training you're doing, those paces per kilometers, if you're doing kilometers, repeat Ks on the track, or repeat 800s, repeat 2 miles, repeat miles, you want to make sure that as you get fitter, you really get out of your comfort zone and you start, the paces per rep are going to be much faster, and you want to make sure you're giving yourself much less rest. Okay, I was ready in the marathon when I could do 1,600 meter reps on the track with 45 seconds to 60 seconds rest in between each one of those reps in under 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Okay, for some, and maybe in your case, you want to get to a point where you can do 1,600 meter reps at say 7:20 per rep, 7 minutes and 20 seconds per rep, with 45 to 60 seconds recovery in between each one of those reps. Once you can get to that point where you can run at those paces, you are going to be dangerous. You are going to, the pace, the 8 minute mile pace or the 4:59 kilometer pace is no longer to be as difficult as it once was. If you're, the athletes out there of how do I train for a 3:30 marathon, you want to be not only consistent with your mileage, but you want to make sure that you're spending around 20 to 40% of your weekly volume at or closer to or below your anaerobic threshold. Okay, anaerobic threshold, you're running anywhere from around 85 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. So again, high quality running, it's very aggressive, but again, the key to being able to sustain goal race pace for a longer period of time, and preferably longer than your competition, is you want to improve the body's lactate tolerance. Okay, so if you're just running easy, relaxed mileage every single week, or you're running those long runs easy every single weekend, it's just going to make you a very strong, superior, long, slow distance runner. So I would advise running a faster, varied pace long run one weekend, and then the next weekend, make sure you're jogging, okay? Because you can't continue to push the body hard anaerobically and expect high returns on your investment. It's just not going to happen. And so I have also built a course on RunDreamAchieve.com specifically for athletes that are trying to break the 3 hour and 30-minute marathon barrier. So definitely check RunDreamAchieve.com out, or you can look below this video. There's links there as well. You just click on the courses link on my website, and basically in that course I go in depth on every single little detail of what, in my opinion, in my own experience, what the athlete needs to be thinking about to break a 3 hour and 30-minute marathon. Okay, and I'm touching on a few concepts here, but just scratching the surface. You definitely want to train on hillier terrain. Okay, you have to get beyond just running on flat surfaces all the time. That being said, psychologically, it will help you to do those tempo runs, your tempo runs, and your long runs on flat surfaces the majority of the time. Because again, psychologically, you see those splits. And if you're wearing your Garmin, once that split goes off and you see a fast split time, it helps psychologically, obviously, to feel like you're running at faster paces. But at the same time, you do want to get outside of your comfort zone, get comfortable being uncomfortable, train on hillier terrain, so that if you're training on hills at least a couple times per week, whether that's doing repeat hill repetitions, 200 to 300 meter reps, or you're running over just a long course, maybe doing a long run, but it's hillier. You do want to get accustomed to that, because the more you train on the hills, once it's time for you to race and you find a flat course, then your chances of racing more efficiently over this marathon distance and breaking the 3 hour and 30-minute barrier is going to be much, much higher for you. Okay, so get beyond just running on flat surfaces. Obviously, find a course that's going to be conducive to a sub 3 hour and 30-minute marathon time. Okay, there's no so-called fast courses if the athlete is not in phenomenal shape. But my advice is, if you're doing your homework and training and you're really doing your track sessions, you're expanding the duration of your tempo runs out to around 10 to 12 miles in length, and you're not just focusing on doing 3 to 4 mile tempo runs, you want to start off that low, but you don't want to stay at that duration. You want to extend the amount of time you're running at a much higher percentage of your max heart rate and building a higher lactic acid buildup as you're running it for longer periods of time. You do want to experience that, but if you do all that and you go into your race properly paced or properly tapered down, you are going to be able to have a much higher percentage in terms of your success rate in order of breaking the 3 hour and 30-minute marathon barrier. So I know this is a short video. I just want to go over a few topics and things that I want you to be thinking about as you're leading into your build-up. Obviously, there are resources below these videos as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com that will speed up your chances of success. And obviously, following a training program that is set up to help you really run those aggressive, faster paces, but also focusing on the recovery period, making sure that you're jogging, making sure that you're slowing down and relaxing and allowing some time for your body to heal from all these hard workouts you're doing. If you do all these things and you really continue to stay consistent with your training, you will break the 3 hour and 30-minute marathon barrier. So I hope this is helpful for you all. Feel free to leave me a comment below. Like and share these videos. I really appreciate it. Helps with the YouTube algorithm and obviously more athletes around the world to see these videos. If there's anything else I can help you all out with, feel free to reach out to me, leave a comment. I will definitely reach back out to you and respond to your message. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you all in the next video.